Let's move on to our police force then. And perhaps a reason that a lot of South Africans do have guns and feel that they need to protect themselves is that they don't feel that they are protected enough by the police. Now, let's call into account what's happening with the leadership of the police. We've got the National Police Commissioner who is not there anymore. We know, obviously, we're not going to get into details on that. But a lot of people saying, why can we not have somebody who has experience in policing to head up a police force and perhaps bring law and order back into South Africa?
I think the leadership of the police is experience. The collective leadership, it is. We can't say the generals that are there are not experienced. They are experienced. And they are given those kind of task operations to undertake. The issue of either one political commissioner is a different matter. Because indeed, there is leadership. In provinces, for an example, there are provincial commissioners. I think almost all of them are an experienced police. As well as at headquarters, there is a huge collective of trained police. I don't think we could judge that point by one person. You need, and those are given tasks, operational tasks, to undertake. I think you should take South Africa as South Africa. That South Africa has a particular character, like the character of violence, for an example, which you don't find in other countries. The very fact that ordinary citizens kill the police is not a common thing globally. Only here, wherein the police die in numbers. It tells you the problem. It doesn't mean that the police who's carrying a gun, who's a police person, is not experienced. These are inexperienced police. But the criminals carry guns and kill police. So you are dealing with a very special kind of circumstances that need, therefore, even the police force to really look into the manner in which they do the policing. One of the problems that face the police, for an example, if people are violent, the police are in difficulties what to do. Because if they start to be police and to be harder, they are criticized. And when they are soft, not doing anything, trying to nurse the situation, they are killed. And they say, but what do we do? What is it that we should do that will really make everybody feel happy? So we need to look at, in other words, we need to give the police their space to do policing. And we need, that's why I'm saying, the issue, therefore, of citizens that are walking there dangerous with guns and other things, we need to address that so that we give the space for the police to do their work. Of course, you know that there has been, for an example, the report from the Falam Commission, which has commented on the question of the training of the police. And the police department is working on that to ensure that a particular type of action by the citizens, police should have that kind of training ready for that. We are working on it. And therefore, those matters are going to be addressed. But I must say, the manner in which we react as the public at times is very unfortunate to the police. For an example, if you take what happened in the lawns of UN building, 2 police cars were burned. Nobody's talking about them. And they were not banned by the police. They were banned by among those who were abusing the protests. There's very little said about it. What is more said, how the police were harder on them. But they banned 2 government cars. Yeah. I'm just saying, it's a matter, and you could see the manner in which they were really throwing the stones at the police. And I think the police were very patient. And they're doing very well. But the more they are, in a sense, softer, the more the citizens actually move very strong against the police. So it's a matter that, again, needs sober minds to look at, to say, how can we handle this matter in a manner that you don't disadvantage the citizens or the police? And some of these measures I'm talking about need to be taken into account.
Yeah. Perhaps it's also an idea of examples that are set. And you talk about the police cars, which nobody can condone. That's absolutely wrong, and it should never be done. But again, we switch on Parliament. We switch on a parliamentary channel and we see violence in Parliament. We see some members of Parliament being forcefully removed out of the chambers, which again sets a bad example. We see scenes that we've never ever seen in our country before happening. Don't you think this also affects the conscience of South Africans?
But you should start from the members who are taken out. Never in the past in Parliament you had members who did not respect the Speaker. When the Speaker says, sit down, you sit down. When the Speaker says, you out, move out because you are misbehaving, you go out. You don't say, I'm not going out. You say, apologize, withdraw, I'm not withdrawing it. That's a behavior that then invites the taking out. I think we should start there. Because if we criticize those who take them out as if they just come to them and take them out, it's not fair to the facts that those who are being taken out, they are making Parliament impossible to run. It's a new thing. That tells you the psychology that you have of politicians, and unfortunately, those politicians did say when they were campaigning, we're going to change Parliament. We're going to, and they came in Parliament with particular worrying things they were worrying, etc., and they are causing problem in Parliament. Instead of the country condemning them, who then induce the speakers to say, let us take them out of the House so that the business of Parliament should go. They actually make the business of Parliament not go. That's what should be condemned in the first instance. And then you can condemn the manner in which they are taken out. But they are taken out because they want these institutions not to work. What did you do with them? You can come there and sit, just listen to hard words going across. The presiding officers have a responsibility to ensure that the House functions properly. Now, it is the politicians who sit there and point a finger at the Speaker. They are not sitting down. They speak before the Speaker gives them the permission to speak. It's chaos. Now, what must the Speaker do? He has a program. He has a program to run. These people, for an example, I went last in Parliament. I think it took 30 minutes before I could deal with questions because they were just making it impossible. And not only once, they've done it many times. At one point, Parliament had to stop. And I'd come there to address issues. And afterwards, they say, no, I don't come to Parliament. I think we should say, because if we miss the point, that the beginning of the problem is the behavior of some of the members of Parliament that lead to people to come or speakers taking a decision to take them out. That's where you should look at. The fact that they're being taken out, what you should do, I'm not going out. I'm not going to withdraw. You are actually undermining the rules of Parliament, which are democratic rules agreed by all parties. What must be done? The rule is, if they become impossible, they must go out. The speakers have that authority. If they refuse, they must be taken out by those who are qualified to do so. Yeah. So once people look at that, I think those who speak, the media and others, should actually not fail to look at the cause of the reason why people are taken out.
Mr. President, we've come to the end of this interview, but I'm going to leave it to you to give South Africans a message at this time. It's a tough time in South Africa. It's always a tough time in South Africa, no matter what it's like. And I think what makes it even more tough is that we're not going to win the Rugby World Cup. So,
absolutely.
But let's not even worry about that. But what is your message to South Africans at a time like this? You're our leader. We need you to lead us.
Now, I am convinced that when we solved the issue of apartheid, the political solution of the country, there's one thing we did not pay attention to. That apartheid was a violent system. It then induced violence from those who were being victimized. And the violent culture in the country remained. So when we solved the problem, we did not realize that we needed to pay attention in the psychological manner of our people, that we needed to take out that culture. So that culture remained. That is why, whether it is the workers protesting, They burn tires, they destroy windows, they do whatever, destroy property, whether it the communities protesting for delivery. They banned even the things that they wanted to be delivered. Whether it is breaking the windows, burning offices, and at times even burning libraries. But they want these libraries. Just the culture comes out. Whether the students are protesting. So it's a culture that we need to deal with. All leaders, political, religious, traditional, and professionals, we need to address that culture. It's the wrong culture that then puts us in a particular level in society. It's important that we recognize this fact. Let us remove violence from South Africa. It's a task of all of us. Let us not condone it. Let us make those who take that action, that a particular action is taken against them, so that we can have a normal kind of society. It is important that we should also recognize that ever since 1994, there is progress that has been made in a number of things. Let us recognize that and then identify where we have not succeeded and say collectively, how do we move forward? Rather than the negativity that comes out all the time, which does not help, because many people who are articulate, who are supposed to be talking what we call a societal education, they don't do it. There is more negativity, criticisms, and all the times. That, in a sense, becomes a societal education you make to the ordinary people. They think that's how we should deal with the matter. Let us be sober. Let us deal with matters in a dignified manner as South Africans.
Mr. President, thank you again. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you very much indeed.